Hey, fourth grade, ready for your art lesson with your friendly neighborhood art teacher? So, before we begin, you will need paper. Lined paper or printing paper is fine. Pencil and eraser. Some sort of coloring supplies, crayons, color pencils, or markers. But before we go any farther, I want you guys to take a few minutes, it's about 7 minutes long, and go watch Austin's Butterfly. This is a great video to show, to highlight observation when we are looking at things and how we can redo our artwork again and again after getting feedback from other people. So take a little bit of time and go watch the video. I'll be waiting right here. All right, fourth grade, your expedition this semester has been the forces of change. How can I be the positive change or positive force of change in my community? How does one's perspective influence his or her opinions? And how could simple machines improve playgrounds to include children with disabilities? Your learning targets today is that I can look closely at a picture for details. I can draw these details on my own artwork, and I can practice this artwork more than one time. So we're going to look at a couple of examples of some really great simple machine artwork that we got from before spring break. And then I'm going to show you about how we're going to start looking at perspective in artwork. Perspective is when things just don't look flat. It's when you start to make things look 3D. You guys did some great artwork for me, but we're going to learn how to put a 3D aspect to our simple machines. So let's look at some of the really good pictures that I got. This is by far one of my favorites. I love it. It's a cake being cut in half by the Wedge. I like that you got the hand coming down there to also split that cake in half. You did great coloring with it. The picture is large. You've got nice letters in there. I think you will very clearly be able to tell what a wedge does. And I like how he added their hand to it to add that force to the picture, or to the wedge. And then we've got a lever. And I love your customization. You've got a diamond handle, fantastic. I like your very fashionable sleeve/glove there. Nice Halloween-y colors. And it looks like you're about to turn that poor little television off. So, those are some of the best some of the great examples that I got from for your simple machines. So what we're going to work on now is learning about how to add perspective to things, how to make it look a little bit more 3D. So I'm going to turn my document camera back over, and we're going to look. When you are just drawing a regular square, easy. Ta-da! Nothing much more to it. So that's just a square. But if we are trying to draw a box or a TV, you want to make this look more realistic. We're going to make it look more 3D. So, yes, you need to start by drawing the basic shape. But then, we need to figure out how we're going to make this look like it's 3D. Yeah, we can add other things like the feet to something. I liked how she had the old antenna up at the top. But it's still flat. It's not doing anything. It's still just staying where it is. So one of the things that you need to add is you add the back part. And I'm going to go over more about this, don't worry. But I'm going to make this, I'm going to do a little line there, a little bit back here, a little line right there. And you won't see that one because it's being hidden. But I'm going to make this go back. And then back. But just because I'm making the TV doesn't mean that the rest of it's blank. This guy in the back also has another part to him. And then I need to add more legs and the back, otherwise it's going to look like nothing's there. And then I can add the that. So that was a very quick and basic, easy way to make to show you what 3D example are. Let's take a look through the up here, and we're going to look at some very basic ones. So I really like the way they talk about this. First, you draw your shape. Then you duplicate your shape. It does need to be the same. You connect, and then you can add shadows around. So that's very similar to what I showed you with the other one with the TV, but we'll go back over some of these. And then you can do the same thing down there with the strange shape, the trapezoid. Next, this one I really like because sometimes it helps to see letters. You can see that first you start with the letter, they add the lines going back, and then they add the back of the lines. So I'll show you one of these too. But this is here so that you can see it in case it helps you have an example to look at. So let's look at that again. We're going to start off with just an easy shape. I'm going to just go with a triangle. Now it said to duplicate the shape, but let's talk about that. If you make the shape behind it smaller, that's going to make it look like it's going into the distance. If you do the same thing, it's a terrible looking triangle. If you do the same thing, but you make the back one bigger, it's going to make it look like your shape is going forward. If you don't want to do either of those, you just want to make sure that you're keeping it about the same size. I'll show you as we go along. So the next thing they said, so once you duplicate it, is you connect the lines. So the top goes to the top. This side will go back here to this side. And then that would go back to that side. And then that would be the same on this one. So top goes up to top. Side goes to side. And, ooh, I really didn't draw that one well. Let's see if I can fix that. It'll actually be easier if I do the big triangle first, then a smaller triangle. So that'll be top to top, bottom to bottom, or side to side, side to side. And then this is the normal one, so we're going to do the same thing, top to top, side to side, side to side. Now, one of the things that little thing I showed you does not do is it tells you which ones to erase. So let's focus on this guy right here. You wouldn't see that back part, and really you wouldn't see that much back there either if this is a 3D, an actual 3D object that's going into the background. So that looks like a triangle that's going backwards. This one, you won't see this whole line right here. I'm going to make that a little bit more even and erase that extra spot right there. And that's the weird one that's coming up towards us. Like this one's going down, like we're sitting, or a bird flying over it and looking down, and this is like something is growing up out of the ground. And then we've got this guy right here who's going to look still pretty close over there to the first one, but a little bit more evenly put together because he's not distanced, strangely. So when you are doing these, you want to keep yours close to the same size or maybe a little bit smaller. Let's not try guys like this right now. So let's show you that again. This time I'm going to do something that's a different shape. because straight lines are kind of easy. Curved stuff looks a little bit harder. So I'm going to do the same general size again. I'm going to connect the bottom. Then I want to take that to the top, and then that one goes to the top, and that goes to that side. I might have to get rid of some of these. You wouldn't see that line. You actually wouldn't see that little line back there either. You don't see that half. I'm going to come back through, draw back in the lines that I had to erase. And now, it looks more 3D. Let's do that with the, let's show that rhombus shape they had. Only I'll make mine a little bit bigger. So, drew the shape. Now I'm going to duplicate it, or close to. Not too big, not too small. Now, I'm going to connect the lines, so this goes back here to that one, that goes back to that one, that goes back to that one, and that goes back to that one. Do I really need to connect these last two? Nope, because you can't see them. So, I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. And you won't see that diagonal, and you won't see that diagonal line, so I'm going to erase that one, and then fix the part that I had, and voila, I've made it look 3D. Now let's look at a letter, because I liked how they did the letters too. So I know bubble letters can be a little hard for some people. If you need to, draw just the regular letter, the lines first, then come back out around it, and then erase any of the other spots that you don't need. It's like you don't need the line that's in the middle anymore, which was the original thing we drew, or drew. I'm going to erase those. Now I've got a nice big block letter. The next thing they said is to pick the direction that your letter's going to go. So if I want it going back this way, all of my lines are going to go up that way. Now, do I need to draw one at every little corner? Let's look. Would you actually see that one right there? No, because it's behind the letter A. Would you actually see that one? No, because it is behind the letter A. Would you see this one? Yes. Yes, you would. So then behind it, I'm going to connect up, up, and then these two are going to go up and to each other. But then we're going to do sideways and sideways. There aren't any others that go sideways, so that's not going to be the problem there. Now let's look at a letter that's got curves. These are going to be trickier, like the shape with curves. So I'm going to make this one go down this way. I'm going to go boom, boom. Now, I need to figure out where from here I want this to start. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to copy the same curve. And it's just kind of going down the same way, so there's that. Then I want to copy the same kind of curve coming that way. And then an end, a little bit of an end, and this is going to follow the curve to the same spot. So, what I'm going to get you to do today is you're going to practice working on some 3D versions of shapes and letters. You are welcome to go look up things that you can find on the internet for any other examples that you need. I've got some things again over here for you to look on in the pictures. I will also put the pictures that I have, examples, in the Google Drive so you can get to them that way if you need to just download them through there. Let's look again. So here's one example that I have for you to look through. Here's the letters, if my computer wants to work with me again. Here's the letters that I want you to look through. What I want you to do today is practice drawing perspective using letters and shapes. Do as many as you can. Draw them. Practice them. You don't need to color any of them right now. Just work on practicing them. You can use a ruler if you need to. You might not need to. Reflection, talk to your home teacher about what you think is the hardest part to draw on them. And turn in today what you did from your spring break and what we worked on Tuesday. Here's the last slide. If you have any questions, you can email me at afriends@amanaacademy.org. There is the link to the turn-in folder. But today I want you to practice drawing those things in perspective. You don't have to turn them in to me right now. We're just going to be practicing them. Next week, we're going to work on a few other things to help make our simple machines look more 3D and more realistic. So, see you then. Thanks.